Telling Jesus to wait isn't very different from telling Jesus no. Tomorrow never comes. One of these days is none of these days. There's great truth. There's a lot of truth in these familiar old sayings, because most of the things that we resolve to get around to later, they never happen. It's the things that we set a date for and a time for, the things that we put on our calendar, that we write down in our appointment books. Those are the things that happen. The things that we make a priority for the present are the things that actually get done. Putting off and procrastinating about important spiritual matters is, therefore, it's a really dangerous gamble. Matthew chapter 8, beginning in verse 21, we read, "Another of the disciples said to Jesus, 'Lord, let me first go and bury my father.' And Jesus said to him, 'Follow me and leave the dead to bury their own dead.'" Now, here Jesus seems to be telling a disciple who's trying to put him off that this disciple, he tells him, "Hey, you need to reorder your priorities." Maybe this man is saying, "Hey, Jesus, let me care for my father until he dies, and then I'll come and follow you." But when Jesus says, "Leave the dead to bury their own dead," maybe he's saying, you'll never follow me if you wait for a convenient time, because there will never be one. Something will always be there to hold you back if you let it. Satan works through the urgency and the busyness of life. Are you waiting to get your ducks in a row before you get your relationship with Jesus where it needs to be? If you are, the devil will continually set little fires for you to put out. He'll continually fill your life with urgent matters, and there will always be just one more thing that's going to keep you from turning your attention to the truly important things in life. And if you keep letting Satan's noise distract you, you'll eventually run out of time. That's why the writer of Hebrews says, don't wait, do what really matters today. Hebrews 3:13. The writer of Hebrews says, "But exhort one another every day, as long as it is called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin." Are you holding on to an ungodly habit or relationship? Are you remaining in a job that requires you to compromise your integrity? Are you telling yourself, "I can quit anytime I want to"? If you are, then you're like the engineer on a runaway train who's going to have a really tough time putting on the brakes. The closer you get to the cliff, the harder it is to stop in time. Are you telling yourself, "I can wait a little while longer"? Don't be like the frog floating in the pot who just kind of lazes around in that nice warm water. He's going to let himself get cooked before he makes a change. Put Jesus on the throne of your life. Do it today. Dethrone whoever or whatever you have to in order to make Jesus Lord. Don't be like Felix the governor. Acts chapter 24, beginning in verse 24, we read that after some days, Felix came with his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish, and he sent for Paul and heard him speak about faith in Christ Jesus. And as he reasoned about righteousness and self-control and the coming judgment, Felix was alarmed and said, "Go away for the present. When I get an opportunity, I will summon you." We don't have an indication that opportunity came for Felix. We don't have an indication that Felix summoned Paul again. In 2 Corinthians 6 verse 2, Paul says, "Behold, now is the favorable time. Behold, now is the day of salvation." If you are watching this video, if you're alive and breathing, that means you have a choice. So take the opportunity to make things right with God today, because one of these days is none of these days. That choice won't always be there.